Our objectives in this lesson are the following. Identify the slope and y-intercept from the equation of the regression line. Calculate the slope and y-intercept of the regression line by steps and using Casio fx-991EX. And formulate the equation of the regression line. Let's have a quick activity. Do you remember? Determine the y-intercept and slope of the line y is equal to 3/4 of x plus 2, then graph it in a Cartesian plane. Do you remember this formula? This is the slope-intercept form. M here is the slope and B is the y-intercept. Now let us rewrite our given y is equal to 3/4 of x plus 2, and following this formula, it means 3/4 here is our slope and this 2 here is our y-intercept. Now let us graph this in a Cartesian plane. In graphing, we always start with the y-intercept. Since this is positive 2, from the origin, we're going to move 2 units going up. 1, 2. So we're going to start here. From here, we're going to apply the slope. 3 here is the rise and 4 here is the run. So from 2, we're going to move 3 units up. 1, 2, 3. We're now here at 5 and then we're going to run 4 units. Since 4 is positive, we are going to the right. So from here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let us connect these points. And there you are. This is the line y is equal to 3/4 of x plus 2. This line is somehow associated with the regression line. Regression line is the best fitting straight line on a scatter plot of sample data. It is the best fit straight line that is used to predict the value of y for a given value of x. To have a regression line, we need a regression equation. And the equation is y hat is equal to bx plus a, where y hat is the predicted value of y, b is the slope of the regression line. This is the estimated rate of change of y per unit change of x. And a here is the y-intercept of the regression line. This is the value of y hat when x is equal to 0. So imagine that x is equal to 0. This whole term here will be equal to 0. So y hat is equal to a. Let's have an activity as easy as a and b. Given the regression equation, identify the slope and the y-intercept. Let us recall our formula. Y hat is equal to bx plus a. Take note that the slope, the letter b, is the numerical coefficient of the variable x. And just a reminder, before determining the slope and the y-intercept, make sure that y hat is isolated on one side and it is positive. Let's have number 1. Y hat is equal to 2x plus 5. Y hat is isolated on one side and it is positive. Now, the slope is the numerical coefficient of the variable x. And here, that is 2. So, 2 is our slope. And this constant here is our y-intercept. Number 2, y hat is equal to negative 4 minus x. Again, y hat here is isolated on one side and it is positive. Now let us look for the term containing the variable x, and this is it. The numerical coefficient of x here is the invisible 1. So our slope for this equation is negative 1, and our y-intercept is negative 4. Next one, 1/4 of x is equal to y hat plus 1. Y hat here is positive, but it is not isolated. So we are going to move positive 1 to the other side. If that is the case, this will become negative 1 plus 1/4 of x is equal to y hat. The term containing x is this one. The numerical coefficient is 1/4. This will be our slope. And since we move positive 1 to the other side, our y-intercept will become negative 1. Next one, negative 5x plus 3 is equal to y hat. Y hat here is isolated and it is positive. There is no need to interchange the terms from one side to another. The term containing x is this one, and the numerical coefficient is negative 5. This will be our slope. And this constant here is our y-intercept. Last one, y hat minus 2/3 of x minus 4 is equal to 0. Since y hat is not isolated here, we are going to move negative 2/3 of x on the other side as well as negative 4. In that case, y hat will be isolated on this side. Since we move negative 2/3 of x on the other side, it will become positive 2/3 of x. So our slope is 2/3. And since we are going to move negative 4 also to the other side, our y-intercept is positive 4. In reality, the regression equation is often unknown, and it can be constructed if you know A and B. Given the raw data, here are the steps on how to solve for A and B. I am going to discuss these steps in detail as I go along with an example. So let's have one. Years of service. Jose made a list of his salary since he started working. We have here the length of service in years and the corresponding salary. Determine the slope, the y-intercept, and the regression equation. Now, first thing that we have to do is to determine the independent and the dependent variable. I hope you still remember our lesson on that particular topic. The independent variable always happens first. So in these two variables, length of service and salary, which one will happen first? Of course, the length of service. You won't be having any salary if you don't have the length of service in a company. So the independent variable is the length of service. That is our variable x. While the dependent variable, the variable y, is the salary. Let us continue now with the steps. Step 1, create a table with 4 columns. So let us create a table. Column for x, for y, for xy, and for x squared. Step 2, list the values for x and y. So for x, on the first year in the company, the salary is 22,000. On the 5th year, the salary is 26,000. On the 10th year, we have 30,000. On the 15th year, we have 35,000. On the 20th year, we have 41,000. And on the 25th year, we have 45,000. Next step, multiply x and y to get xy. So we're just going to multiply these two numbers here. 1 times 22,000 is of course 22,000. 5 times 26,000 is 130,000. 10 times 30,000 is 300,000. 15 times 35,000 is 525,000. 20 times 41,000 is 820,000. 25 times 45,000 is 1,125,000. Next, step 4 is square x to get x squared. So we just have to multiply this by itself or simply square this one. 1 squared is 1. 5 squared is 25. 10 squared is 100. 15 squared is 225. 20 squared is 400. 25 squared is 625. Step 5, get the sum of each column. 1 plus 5 is 6, plus 10 is 16, plus 15 is 31, plus 20 is 51, plus 25 is 76. When we get the sum of this column y, it will give us 199,000. Summing up this column xy will give us 2,922,000. And summing up column x squared will give us 1,376. Now, step 6, substitute the solved values in the formula. Let us have first the formula for b, the slope. So we have n times the summation of xy minus the product of the summation of x and summation of y, all over n times summation of x squared minus the square of the summation of x. Let us substitute our values here. Our n is equal to 6. Why is that? Because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So our n is equal to 6. The summation of xy, look for the column of xy, and the sum is 2,922,000. It is here. Minus the summation of x, look for x, get the total, 76. Multiply with the summation of y, look for y, get the total, 199,000. All over, again, our n is equal to 6. Multiply by the summation of x squared. Here is x squared, and the total is 1,376. Minus the square of the summation of x. And the summation of x again is 76. So we have 76 quantity squared. Computing this in a calculator, this will give us 970.97. Now that we already have the value of b, we can now compute for the value of a. For a, we have the summation of y minus b times the summation of x all over n. Let us substitute our values here. So we have the summation of y, look for y, the total is 199,000. Minus our b is what we computed earlier, 970.97. And multiply with the summation of x, the total is 76. All over our n, which is 6. Computing this in a calculator, it will give us 20,867.74. Now for the formula of the regression equation. Y hat is equal to bx plus a. Our b again is 970.97 and our a is 20,867.74. You simply substitute b and a in our formula. This is now our regression equation. This time, I am going to show you how to compute for A and B using Casio fx-991EX. I have here the emulator for Casio fx-991EX. Let us recall our given. Now let us set our calculator menu. We need number 6 for statistics. Since we have two variables, we're going to choose 2. Now we are going to input our values. So for the first one, we have 1, then equals sign. And then we have 5 equals sign. And then we have 10 equals sign. 15. And then we have 20. And we have 25. Let us move to the other side for the values of y. Let us go up. Our first value is 22,000. Next, we have 26,000. Then we have 30,000. Then we have 35,000. Then we have 41,000 and 45,000. You may want to check if we input the correct data. And if we are sure, let us hit the option button. And then let us choose the regression calc number 4. There we have it. Our B is 970.97, exactly the same as our value earlier. And our A is 20,867.74, same value as we got earlier. Therefore, our y hat will be equal to 970.97x plus the y-intercept 20,867.74. For the summary, again, here are the steps in finding A, B, and the regression equation. Now, it is time to check your understanding. Pause this video for more time. Let us answer. Solve for A, B, and the regression equation. An environmentalist is conducting research on air pollutants. The data shows the gasoline burned per liter by vehicles and emitted carbon dioxide in kilogram. Here is the gasoline burned and here is the carbon dioxide emitted. I am going to answer this using my calculator, and I want you to answer this by following the steps. And let's find out if we're going to have the same answer. Again, I'm going to choose 6 for statistics. And then since we have two variables, I'm going to choose 2. Now I'll input the data. The first one is 8. And then we have 18. Then we have 5, 25, 15, and 50. Let's move to the next side for the y values. Our first data is 19. Then we have 43. Next is 12, 60, 36, and 120. Let us check if we have input the correct data. Now let us click in option. Then let us choose number 4. There we have it. Our B is equal to 2.40 and our A is equal to 0.11. Therefore, our y hat is equal to 2.4x plus 0.11. Gets? I hope you'll get the same answer by following the steps. Our next lesson is interpreting the calculated slope and y-intercept of the regression line.